Hello, welcome back to the channel. Is anybody still there? Is anybody here? I went on a little hiatus there. I had a boxing fight with the brink of death, but I'm back. I feel fantastic. I feel pretty good. Good enough to make some videos, and I'm glad about that. And today, I've got surprising German culture shocks as Americans, and they're not what you've heard before. So that caught my eye. It's from My Merry Messy Life, which was suggested by Onyx TM, some brand, I guess. I don't know. But thank you. Hey, by the way, some like scammer is leaving comments like as if they're me, and I keep reporting them and stuff. Obviously, I don't fall for that. I can't believe that's happening on my channel. But anyway, let's watch this video. This sounds like ASMR, like I'm trying to go to sleep. This is fantastic. Look how beautiful those trees are. The white bark with the moss. Come on.
Germany. So hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm
Nice quality video.
Sarah of MyMerryMessyLife.com, and this is...
Hey, I'm Kevin.
And we are parents
I'm
of 4 children, ages
I like Kevin.
4 to 11, and...
A cat.
a cat.
And we moved to Germany from America in February 2021, and
Ooh, in the middle of COVID. Interesting.
we're just trying to restart
I bet that was
our
fun.
lives and do new and exciting things and see what it's like to live here in Germany.
Look at how beautiful with a freaking castle on the countryside. Looking over the town. You know, if any bad guys are in there, a cannonball is going to hit their head.
Yeah. So today we're going
Incredible.
to share with you 10 culture shocks we've had as Americans here in Germany. And this is mostly because I did a poll and said, what are you guys wanting us to do videos about? And a whole bunch of people said German culture shocks. So for us, I hope these culture shocks will be different than a lot of the other videos you've seen on YouTube. Because for Kevin and I, a lot of the things that are done here in Germany, we're used to. Because Kevin lived in France for 5 years and Sweden for 5 years. And I lived in France for 2 years.
Wow.
And
So we knew a lot of the things.
about how Europe.
We're ready for some of those things.
Yeah. And I know that there are definitely cultural differences and everything else between the different countries in Europe, but there are things that are the same, like needing to know, the train and bus schedules and, things in France are actually...
What a nice big looking train. Not very cramped. It looks like a pleasant train
There's a lot
ride.
of similarities, like you got to be quiet when you're in
scenery.
public and quiet
Oh
on the
my
trains.
God.
And
I'd pay
so
a lot of money to go on this train ride just to go in a circle.
some of the things that a lot of other Americans experience when they come to Germany or even other European countries is that when you go to the grocery store, you have to bring your own bags. You're not given any bags. You have to buy your bags. They're trying to save on plastic and be good for the environment. You go, guys. That's the right move. America needs to get on that. You don't get any plastic bags in the grocery.
It's definitely... I'm sorry, guys. It's definitely more common now. For some reason, I felt like there was a trend toward bringing your own bags, and now that trend has, like, slowed down. But it's more common now to bring your own bags.
Grocery stores. And in every store, you have to bag your
I agree. It makes no sense to just get plastic bags every single time. Half the time, those break.
own groceries as well. You don't get much customer service when you go to stores in France or Germany. I'm sure it's like that probably in a few other European countries, but it's just not, they just kind of leave you alone, which I like.
I would like that too, honestly, for the most part.
I'm kind of happy, like leave me alone and let me shop. So
Some places are out of whack here in America. They're out of their minds. Like people I have left because of because they're too much like, can I help you? What are you looking for? Well, you know where to find me. I'm over here. Are you sure you're doing blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh my God, you know what? I'm done. I was just looking, dude.
it just depends on your personality. There's no public restrooms generally in Europe. You've got to go to the downtown city center or the village center, in our case, to the rat house. And
To the rat house to go to the bat. What?
pay your 20 cents to use the restroom.
All right, we've got you beat there. You don't have to spend 20 cents to pee here. Yes. You just have to spend $20,000 if you break your arm. But to pee, that's free. What is the rat house?
Stores don't really offer public restrooms. You've got to plan ahead for going to the restroom before you go somewhere.
That's pretty funny.
So those were not culture shocks for us. We knew all those things. We've lived those things before.
So number one for us was the German school supplies.
Yeah.
It was, very daunting, just all of the words, Federmäppchen and all these different things.
Federmäppchen.
Hey, isn't this a German brand? Kirkland? No? Yes? No?
I
We're
think
like,
Federmäppchen?
just all of the words, Federmäppchen and all these different things. I think that's...
we're like, what is that?
But then they need a fountain
no
pen,
idea.
and then they need these fine liners and colored pencils and watercolor paints and
Yes, lots
and
of
a compass and a ruler and all the right lengths and all. Yeah,
That sounds like a university art class requirement.
so there's lots of different stuff. So that was pretty interesting to
Yes.
have to get.
Interesting. And that's for like kids.
We didn't know what we were supposed to get until we put it into Amazon. We just had to put the words directly from the piece of paper into Amazon, and then we're like, oh, that's what Federmäppchen is, or whatever it's called. So school supplies, and they had to be correct. The teachers were like, this must be correct.
Yeah, I got lots of notes. Well, such and such kid does not have XYZ. Still doesn't have XYZ. Like, I'm sorry, I'm trying.
We feel like we're being sent to the principal's office. Sorry, we're the dumb foreigners who don't know what we're doing.
And all the stores are closed, and I have to wait 2 days for Amazon to deliver it.
Exactly, all the stores are closed. Where are we supposed to get this stuff?
Yes.
So number 2 is also something that has to do with school. In fact, the first several of these are all going to be culture shocks that come with school, since that's been a huge part of our experience here in transferring to Germany is our
Cool.
kids going to different schools and different languages. The second thing is neatness in handwriting in the schools and how important neatness is.
All the little
A lot
lines.
more than in the US.
The lines have to be drawn with your.
Yeah, they make them draw.
That is so like German. I could see that. That makes perfect sense. With how like engineer focused they are. They're like, the line must be perfectly straight and a right angle with an acute angle sticking out this way in your letter B.
With a
Did that make sense?
ruler.
I mean, I was used to that in engineering school. That we had a lot of
Right,
that.
in
where,
engineering school.
They would make sure
Yes.
you do all that right and draw all your letters the right height and everything.
That's why you guys have such quality cars. All the lines are straight.
But not when you're 7 years old.
I know they're doing that in elementary
school.
school, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that they're teaching them neatness, but we had to get used to it. We didn't, our kids would just sort of scribble out stuff like they'd done in the U.S., and we would get notes back from the teachers. You need to make your kids write more neatly. Oh, sorry.
So then number 3 is needing to have Hausschuhe at school. Definitely, that was the number. They mentioned that right away. Got to have your Hausschuhe at school.
Which took us several weeks to get, and that was a big mess.
It was-
What the heck is that?
But we got that settled now. But even having them at home and taking your shoes off when you go into
Oh.
somebody's house and
Yep.
making sure that our kids.
Yes, this is so interesting. Okay, so these are like house shoes, and they've got soccer balls on them.
Kids know that they need to take care of that. So yeah, that was kind
Those are
of neat.
neat.
Oh, and I
looking.
have a question for all of you. I have heard from some people that you should have extra house shoes in your house for when guests come over. And is that really true? Is that do many of you do that? Because I was like, well, then you'd have to have
Like everyone's
what
size. right?
sizes would you get? And do you need kids size? Do you need adult size? I was just like,
Why do you need extra shoes? Why can't they just wear socks?
I don't know how that works. So let us know.
Serious
Yeah,
question.
maybe they're like sort of like sandals or flip flop type things where you don't like fit your heel in. Maybe. I don't know. Then it doesn't have to be exact size. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. And number 4 is school recess.
So
It happens in the rain, the snow. It doesn't matter the weather. The kids will go outside, which we think is awesome
Yeah.
and we totally agree with. But we were not prepared for that. And as you've heard in our
what? So they just come back into the school sopping wet? That's so at odds with like the whole idea of having different shoes for different things, I feel like. Or maybe it's not at odds. So they change their shoes. They put their Haas shoes back on. And but then the rest of them is all nasty, right?
school video, which I'll link up.
I just figured you guys are very cleanly. So you wouldn't want the kids running around out there in the mud and coming back in.
Here, I think it is.
Even if they change their shoes.
You can go check that out, or it's in the description box below. But we mentioned in that video that we have sent our kids to school without snow pants and snow boots before, and they have come back home soaking wet. And our daughter Ella, she's 4, and she's getting more.
Beautiful house with a pool. Oh my God.
And they have come back home soaking wet. And our
That is a beautiful house.
daughter Ella, she's 4, and she's getting more settled into kindergarten. And I was just taking her there yesterday, and there were signs all
I need to look up the weather in Germany.
over the place. Eltern, don't forget your Regenjacke and your Regenhose. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't bring Ella's Regenhose.
I've never heard of rain pants.
Ella does have a pair. We're good American parents trying to pretend like we're good Germans. We do have rain pants for Ella, but I didn't bring them that day, of course. And then I brought them yesterday, and they didn't go outside. So anyway, we got
thought they
and
go
then we got
outside every
notes from
day.
the teacher. She must have a rain jacket. And then the teachers gave me very specific instructions on the type of backpack that Ella should have. It needs to be a kinder-sized backpack, which is about this big, and it has to have a chest buckle because it's not good or safe for little children to be, without their back support. I totally agree with, but I wasn't used to that, so I had to make sure when I bought her backpack that I had a chest strap.
I've never even known what that is for, so that's for extra back support.
So number 5 is
Gotcha.
Germans are serious about their bicycling.
Right?
In America, maybe
There's definitely some serious guys here, and people with their bike riding here, but I'm sure it's not nearly.
kids might have a bike when they're
Yeah.
young and they can ride around in the cul-de-sac.
In the driveway.
In the driveway. But here it's a way of life, and they're serious.
Yeah.
And
At least it's more so in Bavaria, I've been told.
oh, really?
So let us know, Germans. Is there a lot of bicycling for fun where you live too? In Bavaria, people bicycle all the time. They're everywhere
Yeah.
all the time.
I mean, my one of my colleagues is saying it takes their 5 and 7-year-old kids on 30-kilometer long bike rides.
30 kilometers?
Yeah.
Are you exaggerating?
No, I am not exaggerating.
Oh my
That's dead
gosh.
serious. 5 and
how-
7-year-olds.
5 and 7.
Yeah.
And our other friends, they just took their kids to see Oma and Opa, and it was 11 kilometers one way.
Yeah, and then
Through the mountains, okay?
Yeah.
Through the mountains. Riding their little
Okay.
bicycles, 6 and 8 years old.
yeah. So they're
Dang.
serious about their bicycles.
Those kids are gonna grow up to be freaking. I don't even know what. Mountain men, super strong, good hearts, right? I don't even know what I'm saying.
But I
All I'm saying is that's a lot of freaking bicycling for a little kid.
was a noob in a lot of ways, I guess, in terms of assembling the bikes, and you guys made sure that and we had that footage of showing the bikes with the forks turned around, and I mean we've had people on the
gotten
streets.
slammed for that
Yeah,
on YouTube.
but it's really great, and making sure that everything's right and everything's safe. And like knowing, I guess there's rules on what age kids can ride their bikes on the sidewalk. Is it 10?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
We've been told it's 10,
Been
but I've never
told
seen
that,
that
like,
officially.
That if you're under 10, they can ride on the sidewalks, but if they're over 10, they're supposed to be on the
But then where do you ride?
street, right down the street instead of the sidewalk. So still trying to figure all of that out. Serious about the bicycles. It's pretty cool.
Yes. Okay, so number 6 is Bavarian traditional Tracht. Okay, in our first video, we're totally going to, roast ourselves or...
Yeah. Own up to our ignorance on it.
Well, there's a new trendy word for it, but I can't remember what it is. It's not roast, because I know
Well-
that's an old word. We're aging ourselves here.
I guess I'm not turning.
But anyway, we're going to totally
don't
own up
know.
to this mistake. In our very first video where we say, we're moving to Germany, Kevin's got a fake
Oh, are they doing an apology video with tears?
Bavarian hat on.
Oh.
And
Apologize with tears right now.
we were drinking Weiss beer, but it was not in the correct cup. We got slammed for both of those things.
Well, you call it a Stein.
I called it a beer stein,
Yeah.
yes. Anyway, so we made 2 big German faux pas, and we're still getting views and comments on this video for Kevin wearing that hat, and they're like, for the love of God, please take off that ridiculous hat. That is not like representative of Germany, and you're so right. Bavaria does not represent most of Germany. It only represents Bavaria. So for our American viewers, lederhosen, the suspenders with the little strap, and the shorts, that's what the men wear. and the women wear dirndls, and that's the dress, and then all of it is called trekt. Okay, so each little region and town sometimes has different trekt that represents that town. So what we ended up doing was basically cultural appropriation, which is being called out a lot in the United States right now. It's a big deal going on socially, and people are talking about how it's wrong for someone on the outside to take a little piece of someone's culture and cheese it up.
Make it sort of like a costume,
Make it like a costume.
Instead of, authentic.
And the person wearing that costume doesn't even know what it is.
Guys, I'm skipping this one because it doesn't feel like a culture shock.
And ceremonial wear.
I can see where the next one starts.
Being quiet on
about it first and before you wear it.
So number 7 is being quiet on trains and being quiet in public in general.
I knew there was something about quiet days in a different video.
Which we knew.
We knew, but we weren't sure. We didn't live that with our children, and
Yes, we'd only lived here without children before.
Yeah, and our household is loud and boisterous as it is, so it always takes us a little time to calm down the kids and say, okay, no, we're not going to be loud.
So even inside your own home, you have to be like, all right, let's chill out.
Not going to punch each other in the middle of the street, and so that's been something we've been working on.
Yes,
okay, in the middle of the street.
Before we get on the trains, Kevin has been like, okay, kids, this is a calm and quiet place. You're not going to talk loudly. You're not going to run around. You're going to sit in your seat.
You're not going to put your feet up on the seat.
Yeah. You're going to be respectful, and it's been working. They've been behaving very well on the trains.
For sure.
Number 8 is.
That sounds like probably it makes for a nicer, more pleasant society for everybody to live in.
Airing out the house.
Because that is not much like America.
Now, before we came to Germany, we already knew we were going to have to air out the house. We'd watched so many really good YouTube videos on it. In fact, I want to mention one from Passport to 2, Donnie and Aubrey's video on Lüften and airing out the house. And I learned so much from it. And I watched many others that, I'm sorry, I can't remember, but that one definitely stood out. We knew we were going to have to air out the house. We used to do it in France. But we didn't really do it as a ritual.
Right.
We didn't do it every single morning. And so we started to notice, or I did, that there was sort of like a black film on the tiles in our bathroom. And I knew immediately that was mold. So I wiped it all down, and sure enough, the cloth was black. So we talked to some of our friends, and they're like, are you airing out the house every single morning? And we're like,
every morning. Oh my gosh. What? So is this something to do with the lack of AC? Because I've never heard that term, air out the house, let alone to do that. I mean, you just never do. You would never do that here in America. I've never heard of that. I'm sure maybe some people like that live off the grid and stuff. Every house here has AC, so I'm assuming that's what it is. But I have never heard of that. Airing out the house. So I guess the AC keeps the air circulating and we don't get mold very often. You have to air out the house every morning.
Well, no, we just basically only air it out when it's like warm enough.
Or after every bath.
Or after,
we were good about that. After every shower.
That's true. We were doing it after every bath and shower. So since
a lot of baths here, most bathrooms here have a fan that sucks up the air and recirculates it and stuff in the ceiling.
Since then, we've been airing out our house every single morning. I really love it. I've acclimated to the cold. We came from Georgia, which is really hot, and I've acclimated to the cold, and I love that fresh, chilly air in the morning. I think it's fantastic now, and I look forward to airing out the house.
That's kind of neat. It does sound kind of like just a small way to connect with nature, get some fresh air. That aspect of it would indeed probably be good for the soul. Interesting. Super interesting.
In fact, Kevin comes behind me sometimes and shuts the doors because he thinks it's, or shuts the windows because he thinks it's.
Well, we don't need to leave it open. No, it's not that it's too cold. It's that it's been open too long. We haven't turned the heating down. Anyway.
Well, I do turn the heating down.
Yeah.
But maybe I do miss some now and again. Anyway, so airing out the house is serious business and it must be done well. And we noticed in our video where we talk about having no dryer, I think it was the video 10 things we had in America but don't have in Germany. I said that we don't have
I'm going to watch that.
a dryer here. And I'll link to that up here and down there. And it was so
Oh, that's awesome. I need to
funny,
watch
the
that.
comments. I mean, I got massive amounts of comments about who has a dryer and who doesn't. And we did a poll later on, and it turns out about 40% of you do have a dryer. 60%
Wow.
did not have a dryer. And you all mentioned luften and airing out your house and how you love to have your clothes airing outside and how you just love fresh air. So I think
That's pretty incredible.
that's really great.
And number 9 is the opening hours for stores. Now, we did know, of course, that Sundays, basically everything is closed. All the bakeries, it's really nice. You can
The only thing closed here on Sundays is Chick-fil-A.
always go to
And that's a tragedy by itself.
the bakery on Sunday
Bakeries
morning.
are still open here from 7 to 10 in the morning.
Ending on holidays, too. So we knew that on Sunday you can't go to the grocery store, but it's been a lot more than that, at least here in our little small town. Every
funny.
place seems to have a day of the week that's it's Ruhetag, it's
Like Sunday.
day of rest. That's not Sunday, and here it's Mittwoch on Wednesday. So basically every store is closed on Wednesdays.
Wonderful.
So it's closed on Sundays, closed on Wednesdays. At least the grocery store doesn't have a Ruhetag, at least.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Oh, gosh.
But all the stores they have are around here. They're closed on Wednesdays as well, and then they're often closed in the middle of the day. There might be like for lunch they might be closed.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And they might close at 2
That is a drastic difference between here and between Germany and America.
in the afternoon. They might not be open very late in the afternoon.
And then
then
some of them are only open from 3 to 6 p.m.
You'll find places open all night long. I mean, it might just be Walmart and like some grocery stores, convenience stores, gas stations, but all these things are pretty much open. Like a lot of them. You'll find a lot of them open all night long, every day.
yeah, right, or whatever. You just never know.
And other stores, usually you'd expect pretty much any store to stay open till 8 or 9 o'clock, 9 or 10, all the way from 8 a.m.
Never know.
And there's been several stores we've gone to, and you just show up to, and there's a little note, handwritten note on the door. Closed today. We'll be opening tomorrow at such and such a time. It's
So
very
charming.
quaint. Yeah,
It's like
it's awesome.
something.
That is very charming. It does feel like like a close-knit kind of vibe, less like corporate. Like the only reason things are open here at 24/7 is because the corporate headlords are like, you must stay open 24/7. Sorry. So it does sound a lot nicer for the workers.
Yeah,
in
it's
Germany.
so cute. And then last but not least, number 10, all products, of course, are in German as they should be. But that was a big culture shock for me at first, which it may not sound like that would be a culture shock. So what I found is that when I go to the store, it takes me a lot longer to buy things because I have to get out my German Translate app and try to understand some of the things. Like it took me a while to understand what Backpulver is and how that's different from natron. For baking, that's baking powder and baking soda.
We've got these little children shopping carts in America too, in some places.
So I had to figure all of that out. I had to ask questions on Instagram and get help for it and finally figured that out. And then when we first moved here, I was deliriously tired. I was so out of my mind with exhaustion. And I started using the dishwashing tablets in the laundry. We had 100 of them.
Oh my God.
Our relocation agent got us a big box of 100 of them. So for the first 100 washes of all of our clothes, we were using dishwashing tablets. And I always thought our clothes felt a little stiff and weren't quite getting clean like I wanted them to. And now that I have actual laundry detergent, I know why. I accidentally bought dishwashing rinse aid to use as dishwashing detergent. And I kept wondering why our dishes weren't getting clean enough. Well, it's because the rinse aid was in there and not... So just things...
Rookie mistakes.
Yeah. Like there were some things I didn't translate because I thought,
I got
surely
it.
this is dishwashing detergent.
It looks right.
Right, it looks right. It's got a little shiny glass on it and stuff. Yeah. Surely this is the right thing. No, it wasn't. And so that's definitely been an adjustment. And really all of these culture shocks aren't really shocks. but they are, big adjustments that took us a while to figure out and to muddle our way through. So, and one thing that we've left off,
yeah, so
thing.
There's one thing that we didn't put on here that definitely was a culture shock, is handling all the recycling and all the different types of recycling streams. And we purposely left that off because that's such a big deal. We're going to do a whole video just on going to the Werkstoffhof, the recycling center, and figuring all of that out.
Oh,
So
cool.
Yes.
I might have to watch that too. All right, so I guess that's the end of their list.
So even though we prided ourselves on knowing European...
Well, that was fantastic. That was a lot of super interesting information. My mind is a little bit blown by some of the stuff, like airing out the house. I've just never heard of that. But anyway, hey, I hope I didn't get anybody COVID through the computer screen with some of the coughing I did in this video. I'm sorry if I did. Stay safe out there, guys, and thank you for watching. I hope somebody's still here watching. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day. Goodbye. And thank you to My Mary. Go check out their channel. Bye.